In the center was a shrine sacred to Poseidon and Cleito, so his wife, the human wife, surrounded by a golden wall through which entry was forbidden, as it was the place where the family of the 10 kings was conceived and begotten. And there, year by year, seasonal offerings were made from the 10 provinces to each one of them. There was a temple of Poseidon himself, a state in length, 300 feet wide and proportionate in height, though somewhat outlandish in appearance. The outside of it was covered all over with silver, except for the figures on the pediment, which were covered with gold. Inside, the roof was ivory picked out with gold, silver, and very interesting. This is important. Now I'm going to try to pronounce it. Orichalc. No one knows how to pronounce this because this was a mysterious metal back in the days that some scholars don't believe truly exists, but we'll get back to that. So with gold, silver, and orichalc, and all the walls, pillars, and floor were covered with orichalc. Now, in this account that Plato describes, I just want to add this: the island of Atlantis was almost like a Edenic garden. Like almost everything was ideal for life. I don't remember reading about their civil wars. I don't remember about them protesting on the streets. I don't remember them killing themselves. Like everything was very well organized. There was a big number of flora and fauna. They had elephants. They had a lot of water. The land was so fertile. So it seems like it's an ideal place on the planet to pick where you want to dwell, where you want to live. And they had this mysterious ore or metal called orichalc that other civilizations supposedly didn't have. Okay. Um, it contained gold statues of the gods standing in a chariot drawn by 6 winged horses. And this is another biblical parallel. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
six winged horses. Now, how is this relatable to the Bible? Well, I'm immediately thinking of the cherubim, right? Isaiah 6 says the seraphim have 6 wings, as well as Ezekiel 1 and 10.
Mm-hmm.
But not unfortunately, unlike Isaiah 6, Ezekiel 1 and 10, they say the cherubim have 4 wings and 4 faces. But still, regardless of that, we know that at least Isaiah mentions 6 wings. And now we are reading in the account of Atlantis that Plato is recording that, this place that belonged to Poseidon, it contained gold statues of the god standing in a chariot. And I'm thinking of Baal, and I'm thinking also on God as the God of war, who is again
Mm-hmm.
through these polemics taking these attributes to himself as the God of war and God of gods. So he's portrayed in a chariot drawn by 6 winged horses, and this is very interesting because we know that in different ancient Near East mythologies and religions, they also had cherubim. They didn't call them cherubim, but they had their own creatures that resembled
Right.
biblical, especially Old Testament creatures of seraphim and cherubim. They just called them differently, but in many times they were described in the same fashion. Now we see this in Atlantis, which was a sort of Greek civilization. Very
Yeah.
interesting. Very interesting. So tall that his head touched the roof, and round him, riding on dolphins, 100 Nereids, that being the accepted number of them at the time. Round the temple were statues of the original 10 kings and their wives, and so on and so on. I just want to read that.